All right, so this final piece of optimization is actually the one that people only want to talk about, and it's exercise selection. Okay, and I think that this is something that our creativeness or our collectiveness and how we approach these problems needs to be called into question a little bit more, and the conversations need to be a little bit more robust and a little bit more open-minded. And I'll give you the first example is, the better part of my career has been like based on just looking at technique and training modalities. And this goes back to my days as a sport performance coach. And, there's been a lot of stuff recently. I'd say, when I say recent, last year, like Louis Simmons's outward negative criticism of the way that USA Weightlifting develops athletes, and then vice versa, USA Weightlifting coaches, I wouldn't say the NGB of USA Weightlifting, but weightlifting coaches have then criticized Louis Simmons's methods for using bands when snatching and cleaning. And to me, the part that's being missed is that we're not having an open-mindedness to other people's thoughts and ideas on training. And it doesn't mean that you need to take those ideas and then just replicate them. You can take bits and pieces and parts of the data and you can create your own system of training. So when I was coaching collegiately, I was actually sent to Westside Barbell for a week to talk about integrating some of Louis Simmons' concepts with our athletes. Okay, and when I was there, I found Louis to be a very open man, very welcoming, and very free with sharing knowledge. And he wasn't, obviously he believes in his methods and he's an advocate for them, just like I'm an advocate for mine. But it wasn't this combative thing. And I think that a willingness and an openness to listen to everybody's ideas is what's going to help you break world records or American records. All right. I undoubtedly talk about the science of training more than anything. Right? And I have been heavily influenced by Eastern Europeans and their block periodizations. Part of that is because there's a large volume of content, primarily written, that's influenced me as a coach. So I look at Ishrin, I look at Vershansky, I look at Bondarchuk, and those are probably the three biggest influences on how we devise our training. And then rooted in some of that is basic biology and basic science. Okay, so I believe in circadian rhythms and a biological cycle, and because of that, we train people on 21-day cycles, not monthly cycles. And this is a fairly recent change, but just getting people down to training 21 days. I believe in training blocks and periodization. I believe in optimizing each energy system before starting training another one. Okay, that's heavily influenced by Ishrin. Okay, he has 2 books, Block 1, Block 2. Go read them. All right, make your own mind. Don't let me tell you how to train. All right, and then the largest impact and most recent success is going back and looking at the data that a Russian coach by the name of, Russian coach and athlete, Bondarchuk, uses to develop throwers. All right, to me, it's always been throwers have a lot of similarities to Olympic weightlifters. So I took that research and that data on throwing and thought, how can I apply this to Olympic weightlifting? So what I did is I took my belief in Ishrin, my belief in Bondarchuk, my belief in biology, and I constructed what I feel is my own pyramid to development. And it's really simple. It has GPP as the base. And this is development for Olympic weightlifters. It has GPP as the base. It has special exercises preparation as the next tier, and then it has sport preparation as the top piece, or sport-based exercises. So for Olympic weightlifting, that very top piece of the pyramid is snatching and clean and jerking, the classic variations of the movement. Okay, the special exercises piece are going to be exercises that most mimic the real deal or the full lift and provide you with an overload or a stimulus that you need to optimize through that movement pattern. Okay, so for example, this would be a behind the neck jerk out of the blocks. Okay, it mimics a jerk, but we're going to use it to overload the jerk, because you should be able to jerk more out of the blocks than you can out of the blocks and behind your neck than you can in front. Should be able to, okay? It's less technical, right? Now, bottom base is the GPP. And for weightlifting, the general physical preparation is just any characteristic that you desire, right? So when we want athletes to be explosive and athletic and fast and all those things, we might work that into their warm-up. That GPP phase is going to be a lot of jumps, a lot of deadlifting, a lot of squatting, a lot of things that just give those general characteristics that we desire, okay? Again, the special exercises are probably going to involve the bar in the hand, although they don't have to. They're going to most mimic our sport exercises, all right? In our blocks of training, okay, we like to spend only a little bit of time in our final block preparations for a meet, or maybe even throughout the year. We like to spend a little bit of time in that sport section, or that sport only section. Okay, so in that case, that's where we'll be doing the Olympic lifts, snatch and clean jerk, and only the snatch and clean jerk. Okay, and usually that's to prepare us for the 4 to 6 weeks before a big meet. All right, for athletes that don't compete on a year-long calendar, they'll have some mini cycles that have like 2 weeks of Olympic lifts only. All right, but that starts to build the foundation of all of our training and our exercise selection for what we do. So picking exercises becomes very simple. All right, you want to pick an exercise that fits the phase of training you're in. So if you're in the GPP phase of training with a weightlifter and you're picking exercises, they should be selected on a weakness that the athlete has. Okay, so for example, suppose I want to choose leg extensions on a machine. This looks nothing like Olympic weightlifting, but I would justify the use of leg extensions as a GPP exercise for developing leg hypertrophy. So what I'm saying to you is, in my evaluation of this athlete, I think that they need a bigger muscle, because ultimately a bigger muscle can become a stronger muscle. And in that first block of training, all I'm doing is trying to create mass and size. Okay? As I work up my pyramid, I'm not going to do leg extensions anymore. Okay? I'm going to squat, I'm going to jump, I'm going to do whatever. Okay? Just the same as if I had an athlete that I looked at them and I watched them lift and I was like, God, they just really need to get some body awareness so we can work on this timing and transition. So I might have them over here on the turf doing a full dynamic mobility warm-up where they're changing direction, where they're running, where they're jumping, where they're doing things, again, that look nothing like weightlifting. All right, it's just relevant to where we're at in the phase of training and what the overall goal is. Okay, then to step back and to zoom out a little bit more, remember, this is all predicated on a comprehensive approach that starts with an assessment. Okay, so when we bring the athletes in, we're assessing all these things that are potential problems or areas that they need to improve. Okay, if you come into my gym, all right, and you say, my goal is I want to snatch a world record. And I say, okay, we're going to do the overhead squat portion of the assessment. And you can only put your arm to here, you're never going to snatch a world record unless we can get that arm to above your head. Okay, so that's something where I may need our chiropractor or one of our other movement specialists to work with you in that GPP block to get you to just be able to put your arm above your head. So in your case, general physical preparation block for you might be prehab and rehab to get your arm where we want it to be. Okay, again, it's all relative. And we need to not look at these things in black and white, good or bad. We just need to ask ourselves, where does it fit? And each one of us can construct our own model and our own development system for athletes to determine where it fits. I think my method is the best method. But that's based on all my experiences. I wouldn't put out a product or, a training philosophy that I thought was shit. Right? I'm giving my athletes, I'm giving you the best effort that I have based on coming in on 20 years of being in the field. All right, and I'm gathering all that information and compiling it and whittling it down to this pyramid that has 3 layers. All right, so we got to just ask ourselves, why are they doing this? And you got to ask other coaches, why are you doing this? Louis, why are you using bands? All right, I wrote an article 7 years ago for T Nation just beating the shit out of leg extensions in Olympic weightlifting. In the comments section, some top-notch troll dug up Greek training hall footage of Pyros Demos preparing for like the 1996 Olympics doing leg extensions. The guy was like, look at minute 7:42, Pyros Demos leg extensions. Because I was basically saying leg extensions are useless for Olympic weightlifters. And there's arguably the greatest weightlifter of all time doing a leg extension. It fit into his training somehow, some way. Okay, so we have to keep that open mind and use our creativity and look for lateral connections as coaches to develop the system that optimizes the talent that we have in front of us. But it all starts with that big picture view and that comprehensive approach to identifying what your athlete needs. Okay, if you're going to be short-sighted and you're going to be closed-minded and you're not going to listen to other people, you're never going to break an American record, you're never going to break a world record.